this light, and what I found working on this light is this was obviously wired wrong. It was right across the line. It doesn't go across the line. It actually goes like in a figure eight sort of arrangement. The power comes into one lead of the ballast, goes around, comes through the ballast, because it's just a choke, it's just a coil, comes around, goes through the ballast, it goes to one side of the light fixture. Like, let's say it goes to this one. Then there's a wire underneath that goes all the way across from that one to the opposite one on the other side. It comes out of there and it goes through the starter. Okay, so it goes in through one side. The other side of the bulb comes out and goes to the opposite side. So it makes like a figure eight or an infinity sign. Comes out of the other side, goes through the starter and the switch. In this case, most of them don't have a switch, but this one does. So it comes out through the starter, through the switch, and back to the line cord. So it makes a figure eight through the light. And that's important that it's that way. So it works now if I turn it on. Okay, so that took care of that problem. Now, when we first tried to get it to work with this starter that was in there, what happened is it was wired wrong, so it blew up the light bulb. And you can see there where it blew it up. It's a good thing it didn't explode. I had one of my helpers working with me, and she went ahead and cleaned the unit up and all of that, and I told her to clean the contacts on the starter because I knew that was probably not making good contact. It looked pretty corroded. So she cleaned those up, put the starter in, turned it on, plugged it in, and blew the bulb. And that was because this was wired wrong. So I didn't know that because, you know, we just thought it was put back in the way it came out. However, it will work intermittently with this starter. This starter is, you know, it's Chinese, made in China, right? And it's got it's a starter with a condenser in it, which is to get your power factor closer to 1 because it's an inductive, it's a coil, it's an inductive reactance. So they put a capacitor reactance in there, which they're opposite each other as far as current flow, and it balances out. And that's okay, but it's not required. This one probably has, this is a vintage one. It came out of one of my own lights. I got to put it back, so we're going to have to order one of these. But, you know, this one's not made in China. It's made in USA. And you see it's got a hole in the top. Watch when I turn it on. You'll see what happens in that hole. See that? You see how it lit up? All it is a switch. So just like this switch. It's a switch. That's all it is. So what it does is there's two pieces of metal in there that when you turn the switch on, they're touching. And the power goes right through the circuit. Once the current starts flowing, the resistance of the light bulb drops, so current wants to go faster and faster, which ultimately blows the bulb. So they put a starter in there. Well, those two wires are touching, but as the current's flowing through them, they get hot. And when they get hot, they pop apart. When they pop apart, they disconnect. And the light is just going based on its own fluorescence and a little bit of current flow. The voltage is still across it, and if it drops too much, if the voltage drops too much, then the starter engages again, and it just engages and disengages, and that's what it does, and it keeps the light lit. Okay, if I take this out, which by the way I had to clean the contacts in there too, they were pretty bad, and put the other starter in, put the light back in and turn it on. You see that faint glow in there? Can you see that? And over here, no, here, let me shut this off. Now you can see it. See, that element is lit and that element is lit, but it's not enough to light the gas. And so if I play around with it, you know, and kind of shut it on and off, it'll light the gas, but it won't keep it lit. If I turn this and play around with this, sometimes it'll pop on, but not in this case. So we got the ballast wired correctly, and we know that this Chinese starter is not working. So what you need is a bulb and a starter. It is possible, well, you can start them without a capacitor, but you can't run them without a starter. So what you want to do, or what I can do, I can order one of these on Amazon that doesn't have the condenser in it, but I don't think that's the problem. I think this one is just bad. It's probably just weak, and, you know, factory reject, whatever. It's in there, but it's not very tight. All these contacts are really old, and so, you know, that's part of the problem. But you can't buy those, right? I mean, you know, you can get them like these. You know, this is, but these are not the same. You know, this is modern, the way to make them now, and it won't work in here. I don't think you can even get it in there. They're wider at the bottom. See how they're wide at the bottom? That's the way to make them now. This one, you see, it's not like that. So I can't do much about that. But I did clean them, and the light is working. And it just needs a good, you know, good UL rated starter to kick it off. This one has the hole in it too. It's in the bottom, right? They put it in the cheapest part, which is that cardboard on the bottom. And this is all plastic, where this one's metal. They don't make anything like they used to, and I can't help that. You know, all I can do is, same as you, go to Amazon or anywhere else and buy the same junk that you buy, because it's all junk. But that's why we try to save these devices, right? Because of the modern junk. Well, unfortunately, they require controls that are junk today. See? Bam. With that one, it works fine. This is my light bulb. I need this light bulb. I can buy you another light bulb. You don't want to use one anyway. This one goes over my tube tester for my testing tubes for working on radios, so I can't give you that. And the same with this starter. It came out of my tube tester light. I need those. I can try to get another one of these and hope that it'll work, and we can definitely buy a bulb that'll work. I can buy a 2-pack of bulbs, but again, even my bulb is vintage, you know. I mean, you know, this is an old GE bulb. Actually, I paid $1 for it at a thrift store. It was originally marked down $7.79. Actually, no, I didn't pay $1 at the thrift store. I paid $1.99 at the thrift store at Goodwill. It was already marked down to $1 wherever it came from. But yeah, you know, I'd rather have this old, look, made in USA. I would rather have this old one that is probably 20 years old than to go buy a new one. So, you know, and the same with my starter. You know, I just soon go to thrift stores and buy old units and have old used ones than buy a new one. It's just the way it is. Anyway, watch this video. Let me know what you want me to do. I can Amazon these things overnight. Maybe get this back to you in time for Thanksgiving. I don't know. But, you know, if I order them and it works, great. Yeah, I can send it to you and get it to you. If I order it and it doesn't work, then I bought parts that are useless, just like that one is. So, well, there you have it.